You won't believe the band I stumbled upon last night at a live show. They call themselves Infinite Echoes. There was something incredibly electrifying about the way they performed. It felt passionate and raw. I think the guitarist's name was Shin Min-yuk. He was an absolute revelation. They have this song called Moonlight Mirage. It's like a melody woven into the heartbeats of the night itself. Of course, I ended up getting their album. I can't help but share my excitement with you. Indie music, there's a kind of allure to it. It's like platforms for raw talent, untouched by commercialization. The performance, by the way, was absolutely electric. This might be adding to my ever-growing list of favorite music. I guess all those ad-libs in our karaoke sessions are supposed to culminate into this. Speaking of music reminds me of our crazy group. I was chatting with Midori and Kiyoshi earlier today, and we ended up planning an unusual reunion. Imagine an indie kitchen where we cook, laugh, and rock to the strums of Infinite Echoes. Remember how Kiyoshi once mistakenly added ginger to miso soup? We hope there won't be any more culinary disasters, but who knows? The kitchen is always a place of surprises. Thinking about our reunions always makes me realize how unique our bond is, don't you think? Through music, books, food, or simple everyday life, our friendship has flourished in a million little ways, and that's kinda beautiful in its own way. Anyway, looks like I got carried away. I guess that's what music does to you. It releases your soul into the universe and lets you dance on the edge of infinity, or something like that. Oof, now I sound like one of those over-the-top motivational speakers, but I am thrilled about our reunion. So, here's something fun. I started a new art project today, something a bit out of the box for me. It's a mixed media collage. Yeah, you heard me right. It's me venturing into the artsy territory. I thought, why not combine my industrial design sketches with some vibrant pieces inspired by Seoul's nightlife? It's a curious blend, you'll say, but it's forming into something captivating, at least to my eyes. Midori and Kiyoshi found the idea thrilling, and the chatter went on, spilling out moments that took us back to our university art fairs. Kiyoshi, ever the culinary enthusiast he is, even suggested adding some food stall sketches, and Midori, as always, came up with the most artistic analogies. She said it's like creating a vibrant symphony of a cityscape. Isn't that a stirring way to put it? I loved it. More ideas came billowing in from everywhere. Some food stalls here, a few neon signs there, a bunch of typographic sketches from Midori. It could end up looking like the Last Supper painting, as Kiyoshi joked. Thinking about that definitely got a chuckle out of me. Well, wouldn't that be an absolute spectacle? Our very own version of a masterpiece. There's just something undeniably exhilarating about having something to look forward to. It's also kind of nerve-wracking, too. I mean, I've been jotting down these ideas like a madwoman, all to make sure I don't leave anything out. Did you catch that, though? Chef Banksy, he said. I swear, Kiyoshi's enthusiasm can be so infectious at times. It's always such a hoot seeing how different our styles are, and yet, how beautifully they blend together into something new. Midori's typographic sketches will add a nice contrast to my design sketches, and Kiyoshi, well, he'll make sure our taste buds are represented too. Maybe I can even incorporate some recipes into the collage, who knows? We certainly cook up some unique fusion during our kitchen sessions, don't we? Now the brush and the canvases are calling me back. This conversation was a nice little interlude in the middle of an intensive brainstorming session. It's funny how talking about art feels so therapeutic. I guess when you share a bit of your creative journey with your loved ones, it feels less like a solitary feat and more of a shared adventure. Wouldn't you agree? Speaking of which, I remember you mentioned an art piece you were working on. Time to get back to that, I suppose. Can't wait to see your creative spirit come to life on canvas. I'm sure it will be just as spectacular as anything else you pour your heart into. You are in for a fun story today. So I went to this local cafe, kind of a lively little place nestled between office buildings, a cozy retreat for the likes of us. Who knew, right? Brushing past the usual bustle, I happened to meet Sarah. an expat settling into her new life in Seoul. It was interesting how easily we connected, almost like we'd known each other for a while. Work, art, life, the culture, our conversation wove through countless topics. There's something special about exchanges over a steaming cup of coffee, wouldn't you agree? Sarah seemed to appreciate my sketches when I showed them, particularly the pieces inspired by Seoul's nightlife she saw on my phone. It's funny how every person sees art in their unique lens. It almost adds another dimension to the artwork. In fact, Sarah even hinted that she would like to do an art exchange to interpret the same scene through our different perspectives. Isn't that exciting? Like seeing the world through different eyes. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, shall we? Remember that cook-off we planned with Midori and Kiyoshi after our usual chit-chat? Well, it's heating up, literally so. Chef Kiyoshi has brought out his cooking blowtorch. Just imagine Kiyoshi, the daring artist, painting flavors with a fire as his brush. It's funny how this culinary contest is starting to resemble an extreme sports event. But then, isn't that the thrill of it all? Getting out of our comfort zones, experimenting with flavors, playing with fire in the most literal sense. It's like we're jazz musicians in the kitchen where every new ingredient feels like a fresh note to play with. This vibe truly reminds me of our university days. Who else but us could turn a simple cooking showdown into an episode of Man vs. Wild? But, as Sarah put it today, it's these shared experiences that bond us, showing us the world through a billion different lenses, right? It's fascinating how people come into our lives and, without even knowing it, change us in various subtle ways. Speaking of change, I should go now. Sketching ideas for that potential art exchange has got me excited. I can't wait to see Sarah's interpretation of our vibrant soul. But until then, our cook-off awaits. Time to bring out my cooking apron, gloves, and possibly my fire extinguisher too.